observation deck of the ISS Hawking, her dark eyes fixed on the massive object slowly rotating against the backdrop of stars. The alien vessel had been discovered on the dark side of Saturn's moon Titan, partially buried in methane ice. After 3 months of careful excavation, humanity was about to make its first entrance into an extraterrestrial spacecraft. "Structural analysis complete," announced Commander James O'Neill, his Irish accent thick with excitement. "Hull integrity at 82%. Environmental systems are stable." Samira nodded, making notes on her tablet. As the lead xenotechnologist for the United Earth Space Agency, she'd waited her entire career for this moment. The vessel's design defied conventional physics, smooth, almost organic curves that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Team Alpha is ready for insertion," reported Dr. Raj Kapoor, their security specialist. His holographic image flickered slightly in the ship's low light. "We've got 4 teams on standby, and the quantum entanglement communicator is operational." The discovery of the ship had been kept classified from the public, known only to top officials and the scientific team. Humanity had yet to make first contact with any alien civilization, making this find particularly significant. "Begin insertion sequence," Samira commanded, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The entry team, led by Dr. Viktor Petrov, approached the vessel's primary airlock in their advanced environmental suits. The first surprise came when the ship's external lights activated at their approach. "Energy signature detected," called out Lieutenant Zara Thompson from her monitoring station. It's like the ship is waking up." The team watched in amazement as geometric patterns of soft blue light traced across the hull, forming complex, interlocking designs. The airlock cycled open without any prompting, revealing a pristine interior. "This doesn't make sense," Victor's voice crackled over the comm, "there's no damage, no signs of abandonment. It's as if the crew just vanished." As the team made their way deeper into the vessel, they discovered technology beyond their wildest expectations. Holographic interfaces sprang to life at their approach, displaying information in an unknown script that seemed to shift and change as they watched. "Dr. Patel, you need to see this," Victor called out several hours into the exploration. His helmet camera showed what appeared to be the ship's engineering section. At its center stood a pillar of swirling energy, contained within a transparent cylinder. "That's impossible," Samira whispered. The energy readings from the pillar defied every known law of physics. "It's some kind of perpetual motion machine, but it's manipulating spacetime itself." The discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Over the next few weeks, teams worked around the clock to document and analyze every aspect of the vessel. They named it the Prometheus, after the mythological figure who gave fire to humanity. But it was Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a quantum physicist, who made the most startling discovery. "The ship's computer contains what appears to be a warning," she announced during an emergency meeting. "I've only decoded fragments, but it mentions something about forbidden knowledge and the attention of the watchers." Before they could fully understand the warning's implications, the first signs of trouble appeared. Strange energy signatures began appearing at the edge of the solar system. The quantum entanglement communicator picked up fragments of transmissions in dozens of unknown languages. Commander O'Neill received the first official contact from an alien civilization, the Collective of Advanced Species. Their message was simple but chilling: cease all research into the abandoned vessel immediately. You are accessing technology beyond your evolutionary stage. This is your only warning. The human leadership faced a crucial decision. The technology aboard the Prometheus could advance humanity by centuries, potentially solving their energy crisis, environmental problems, and allowing them to join the galactic community as equals. But the warning was clear: proceeding could lead to conflict with advanced civilizations they knew nothing about. Dr. Patel made her recommendation to the United Earth Council. "We've been given fire," she said, her voice firm. "Like our ancestors, we can either cower in fear of its power or learn to master it. I suggest we move forward, but with caution and purpose." The council voted to continue the research in secret, establishing a hidden facility beneath the lunar surface. They couldn't know then that this decision would set in motion a chain of events that would forever change humanity's place in the galaxy. As Samira looked out at the stars from her lunar office, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The real question wasn't whether they could understand the alien technology, it was whether they were ready for the consequences of that understanding. By its residents, hummed with activity. 6 months had passed since the discovery of the Prometheus, and Dr. Samira Patel's team had made extraordinary progress, perhaps too much progress. Lieutenant Colonel Marcus Rodriguez stood at the reinforced observation window, watching as researchers worked on what they dubbed the Infinity Core, the mysterious energy pillar from the alien vessel. His weathered face reflected in the glass as he spoke into his secure communicator. The civilians are getting results faster than anticipated, General. It might be time to increase military oversight. Behind him, Dr. Yuki Tanaka's fingers flew across a holographic interface, her eyes narrow with concentration. The base code is evolving, she announced to the room. It's like it's learning from our attempts to understand it. The breakthrough came at 0300 lunar time. Dr. Raj Kapoor, who had been analyzing the ship's security systems, burst into the main lab. It's not just a programming language, he gasped, out of breath. It's a universal translator. The entire ship's system is designed to adapt to any species that discovers it. The revelation changed everything. Within days, the team began making unprecedented progress. The alien script started rearranging itself into recognizable patterns, then into Earth languages. But with understanding came disturbing implications. The ship wasn't abandoned, Samira explained during an emergency briefing with United Earth leadership. It was planted. Like a seed. Her hologram flickered before the assembled officials. Or a test. Admiral Helena Blackwood, the newly appointed head of Earth's Defense Forces, leaned forward. A test of what, exactly? Of readiness, Samira replied. There are factions among the advanced species. Some believe in guided evolution, others in natural development. This ship appears to be part of an experiment by the interventionist faction. The implications were staggering. Humanity hadn't randomly stumbled upon advanced technology, they had been chosen to find it. But by whom, and for what purpose? In the engineering lab, Dr. Viktor Petrov and his team achieved their first successful reverse engineering of alien tech. They created a miniature version of the Infinity Core, capable of powering a small city indefinitely. The celebration lasted exactly 3 minutes before the first alarm sounded. Energy spike detected in the Kuiper belt, announced Lieutenant Zara Thompson. Similar signature to the Prometheus, but massive. Something's coming. The response from the collective of advanced species was immediate and severe. A flotilla of ships, each larger than Earth's largest cities, appeared at the edge of the solar system. Their message was broadcast simultaneously to every electronic device on Earth and its colonies. You have failed to heed our warning. The technology you access belongs to the precursors. Its use is restricted to species who have achieved level 3 civilization status. Humanity is currently at level 1.4. You have 48 Earth hours to surrender all derived technology and knowledge. But humanity had learned more than just technology from the Prometheus. Hidden in its databases were strategic files, defense protocols, and most importantly, information about the political dynamics of galactic civilization. They're bluffing, Samira declared to the Emergency Council. The collective is divided. The precursor technology we found is controversial even among them. Direct intervention against an emerging species would fracture their alliance. Admiral Blackwood studied the holographic display of the alien fleet. Can we be certain? The technological gap is enormous. Dr. Tanaka stepped forward, her usual reserved demeanor replaced with fierce determination. We've decoded enough to understand their capabilities. Yes, they're advanced, but their technology is stagnant. They haven't truly innovated in millennia. They follow the precursor designs exactly, bound by tradition and fear. But we haven't, Rodriguez added, a slight smile playing across his face. We've already improved on several of the original designs. Human creativity combined with precursor tech, that's what really scares them. The next 48 hours were a blur of activity. While diplomatic channels remained open, every lab in the lunar facility worked at maximum capacity. They weren't just studying the alien tech anymore, they were transforming it. As the deadline approached, Samira stood in her office, watching Earth rotate slowly in the black sky. The door chimed, and Admiral Blackwood entered. The Security Council has reached a decision, she announced. We're not backing down. But we need options beyond just military response. Samira turned, her expression grave but determined. I think I know why the interventionist faction chose us, she said. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our intelligence. It's our ability to find a third option when presented with an impossible choice. And have you found that third option, Doctor? Samira's tablet displayed a complex diagram, showing connections between various alien species and political factions. Not yet. But I know where to look. The Prometheus wasn't just a gift of technology, it was a key to understanding the galaxy's political landscape. And in politics, there are always leverage points. As the deadline ticked closer, humanity prepared for either their greatest triumph or their most devastating confrontation. But in the depths of the lunar facility, surrounded by technology that defied imagination, Dr. Samira Patel and her team worked on something far more powerful than any weapon, an understanding that might reshape the galaxy's balance of power forever. Instead, it came from deep space, a burst of energy that disabled 3 collective ships and 1 human defense satellite simultaneously. In the chaos that followed, a new player emerged. We're receiving a transmission, Lieutenant Zara Thompson announced, her voice tense. It's not from the collective. The message appeared in crystalline letters across the lunar facility's main screen: the experiment must continue. The strong survive. The weak submit. Dr. Samira Patel recognized the language pattern immediately. It's from the precursors themselves. The room fell silent. Until now, the mysterious creators of the advanced technology had been considered long extinct. Admiral Blackwood's hologram flickered to life in the command center. Doctor, please tell me you have good news. Better than good, Samira replied, gesturing to a complex holographic display. We've discovered something extraordinary in the Prometheus's databases. The precursors didn't just leave their technology, they left a roadmap. Dr. Viktor Petrov's team had made the crucial discovery. Hidden within the ship's quantum matrix was a complete history of technological development, not just the end results, but the process itself. It revealed something stunning about the nature of the collective. They're frozen, Viktor explained to the assembled leaders. The collective found precursor technology and simply copied it. They never understood the underlying principles. But we're doing something different, we're learning how to innovate. The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't just gaining technology, they were gaining the ability to create new technology that even the collective hadn't imagined. But this revelation came with a terrible price. Deep beneath the lunar surface, in a heavily shielded chamber, Dr. Yuki Tanaka and her team witnessed the first catastrophic failure of their enhanced infinity core. The explosion was contained, but the quantum readings were clear: they had inadvertently torn a microscopic hole in spacetime. The collective's warning wasn't just about politics, Yuki reported, her face ashen. Some of this technology is fundamentally dangerous. We're playing with forces we barely understand. Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez, who had been quietly observing for months, finally showed his hand. That's exactly why we need to accelerate our military applications. Earth needs to be ready. The debate that followed split the scientific community. Some, led by Dr. Raj Kapoor, argued for caution and a focus on defensive technologies. Others, including Victor, pushed for rapid development of all possible applications. The divide mirrored an ancient pattern, one the precursors had seen play out countless times across the galaxy. In orbit around Jupiter, the first human ship incorporating reverse-engineered technology prepared for its maiden voyage. The ISS Prometheus II represented humanity's first true step into advanced spaceflight. Its chief engineer, Dr. Isabella Santos, had incorporated elements that even the collective hadn't considered. "We're not just copying anymore," she explained during the pre-launch briefing. "We're combining precursor principles with human ingenuity. This ship can do things that should be impossible." But as the ship powered up its experimental drive, something unexpected happened. The tear in spacetime beneath the lunar surface began to expand. Quantum alarms blared across the solar system. "Multiple ruptures detected," Zara reported, her voice steady despite the emergency. "Something's coming through. Many somethings." The monitors showed impossible readings. Ships of unknown design, neither human nor collective, emerged from the tears. They moved with an organic fluidity that defied physics, their hulls shifting and reforming like liquid metal. Admiral Blackwood's voice crackled across all channels, all stations, battle stations. "This is not a drill." In the lunar facility, Samira raced through the Prometheus's databases, searching for any reference to these new entities. What she found chilled her to the bone. "They're called the displaced," she announced. "They're refugees from realities the precursors accidentally destroyed during their early experiments. We didn't just gain their technology, we inherited their mistakes." The collective fleet, still maintaining their blockade of Earth, found themselves caught in an impossible position. Their rigid adherence to precursor technology had left them unprepared for this new threat. In a stunning reversal, their commander opened a direct channel to Earth. "Your species has awakened something that should have remained dormant," the alien voice resonated. "But you have also shown creativity. Perhaps there is wisdom in the experiment after all." As the displaced ships advanced through the solar system, humanity faced its greatest test. They had wanted to prove themselves worthy of advanced technology. Now they would have to prove themselves worthy of survival itself. Dr. Samira Patel stood in her office, watching the quantum tears shimmer against the black of space. On her desk, a simple message flashed from the Prometheus's deepest systems: Phase 2 initiated. Survival parameters, engaged. The real experiment, it seemed, was just beginning. Doctrine humanity had ever developed. Their liquid metal ships flowed through conventional defenses like water through a sieve, absorbing energy weapons and adapting to ballistic impacts in real time. "They're not just fighting us," Dr. Samira Patel observed from the Lunar Command Center. "They're learning from us." The holographic displays showed the battle unfolding across the solar system, a dance of light and shadow as human, collective, and displaced ships clashed in the void. Admiral Blackwood's fleet had managed to halt their advance at Saturn's rings, but the cost was devastating. "We've lost 30% of our enhanced ships," she reported, her hologram flickering with interference from the quantum distortions. "The collective's losses are even worse." In the depths of the lunar facility, Dr. Yuki Tanaka made a breakthrough that changed everything. "The displaced aren't attacking randomly," she announced, her fingers dancing across streams of data. "They're targeting specific quantum frequencies, the same ones generated by precursor technology." The revelation sparked an idea in Dr. Isabella Santos, who had been analyzing the Prometheus II's performance data. "What if that's the point?" she asked. "What if they're not trying to destroy us, but to force us to evolve?" The theory gained credence as the attacks continued. The displaced never struck civilian targets, focusing exclusively on military installations and ships utilizing reverse-engineered technology. Each engagement forced humanity to adapt, to innovate, to push beyond mere replication of precursor tech. Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez, watching the patterns emerge, saw the military implications immediately. "They're training us," he said during an emergency council meeting. "Like a sergeant drilling raw recruits." But Dr. Raj Kapoor had discovered something even more disturbing in the Prometheus's databases. "The displaced aren't just refugees," he explained, his voice grave. "They're survivors of failed experiments. Other civilizations that found precursor technology, advanced too quickly, and tore their realities apart." The collective's response to this information was unexpected. Their Supreme Council, speaking for the first time in centuries, broadcast a message across the solar system: "We understand now. We were never the chosen inheritors. We were the control group." In orbit around Mars, Dr. Viktor Petrov's research team worked frantically to modify their defensive systems. They had noticed something crucial: the displaced's attacks were becoming predictable, almost ritualistic. "It's like they're following a script," Viktor reported. "Testing us against specific scenarios." The true nature of the crisis became clear when Samira finally decoded the deepest level of the Prometheus's quantum database. The ship hadn't been planted by the precursors themselves, but by a faction of their descendants. The galaxy was caught in a cycle of technological stagnation, and Earth had been chosen as a potential circuit breaker. The collective didn't just stop innovating, Samira explained to the United Earth Council. They were deliberately prevented from advancing further. "The precursor descendants are using us to prove that controlled technological advancement is possible." Lieutenant Zara Thompson, monitoring the quantum signatures, detected a new pattern emerging. "The tiers are stabilizing," she reported. "The displaced, they're creating a permanent passage between realities." The implications were staggering. The displaced weren't simply attacking, they were preparing humanity for something bigger. Each engagement, each technological adaptation, was building toward a moment of transformation. Admiral Blackwood, seeing the larger picture, made a bold decision. "We're changing our strategy," she announced to the combined fleet. "No more defensive positions. We're going to engage the displaced on their terms." In the lunar facility, Dr. Isabella Santos and her team worked to modify the Prometheus 2 systems based on their observations of the displaced's technology. "We need to stop thinking in terms of solid matter," she insisted. "The boundaries between energy and matter, space and time, they're all more fluid than we imagined." As the modified fleet prepared for its first coordinated engagement with the displaced, Dr. Samira Patel received one final message from the Prometheus's core: "Final phase approaching. Synthesis required." The message confirmed what she had begun to suspect. The crisis wasn't about survival or technological superiority. It was about transcendence, moving beyond the limitations that had trapped the collective in stasis for millennia. As quantum distortions rippled across the solar system, humanity stood at a crossroads. They could retreat from the challenge, surrender their innovations, and accept a place among the collective stagnant civilization. Or they could press forward into unknown territory, risking everything in pursuit of a transformation they barely understood. In the command center, watching the fleets align for battle, Samira made her recommendation to the council: "We didn't come this far to stop now. The real question isn't whether we'll fight, it's what we'll become when the fighting ends." But with understanding. As humanity's modified fleet approached the quantum tiers, Dr. Samira Patel made a discovery that changed everything. "The displaced aren't attacking us," she broadcast across all channels. "They're trying to communicate through the only language they have left: conflict. Each battle pattern is a piece of code, a fragment of knowledge they're trying to share." The revelation came just as the displaced launched their largest assault yet. Their liquid metal ships merged into massive geometric forms, creating structures that defied conventional physics. But this time, humanity was ready. Dr. Isabella Santos, commanding the Prometheus 2, initiated the new prototype quantum resonance system. "Match their frequency," she ordered. Don't fight the pattern, become part of it. The human fleet began to move in perfect synchronization with the displaced vessels, creating a dance of light and energy that transformed the space between Mars and Jupiter into a spectacular display of quantum harmonics. The collective ships watched in stunned silence as their former adversaries achieved what they had thought impossible, direct communication with transdimensional beings. "They're showing us the way forward," Dr. Yuki Tanaka reported from her quantum analysis station. "The precursors didn't disappear, they evolved beyond physical form. The displaced are the ones who failed in the attempt." Admiral Blackwood, watching the interaction unfold, made a decisive call. "All ships, maintain formation. We're not here to fight, we're here to learn." The knowledge transfer that followed was beyond anything humanity had prepared for. The displaced shared not just technology, but the accumulated wisdom of countless civilizations that had attempted the great leap forward. They showed humanity the paths that led to destruction, and the narrow road to transcendence. Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez, who had advocated for military solutions, found himself humbled by the revelation. "All this time, we thought we were preparing for war. We were actually preparing for evolution." In the lunar facility, Dr. Raj Kapoor and his team worked frantically to process the incoming data. "It's not just about technology," he explained to the United Earth Council. "It's about consciousness itself. The precursors found a way to exist as pure energy, pure thought. The collective's response to these events proved surprising. Their Supreme Council, after millennia of rigid adherence to tradition, made an unprecedented decision. We have been preserved in amber, their leader announced, kept safe but unchanging. Perhaps it is time for us too to remember how to grow. Dr. Viktor Petrov, who had helped develop many of humanity's defensive innovations, saw the bigger picture emerging. The displaced weren't refugees seeking revenge, he said. They were teachers, waiting for a student who could understand their lessons. The transformation began slowly at first, then with increasing speed. The quantum tiers stabilized, forming permanent bridges between realities. The displaced's liquid metal ships merged with human vessels, creating hybrid technology that could traverse not just space, but dimensions. Lieutenant Zara Thompson, monitoring the quantum frequencies, detected something unprecedented. "The barriers between dimensions are becoming permeable," she reported. "But it's controlled, stable. We're not tearing reality, we're transcending it." In the final moments of the crisis, Dr. Samira Patel stood before the United Earth Council one last time. "We have three choices," she explained. "We can reject this knowledge and remain as we are. We can accept it and attempt the transformation to a higher state of being. Or we can do what humans have always done best, forge our own path." The decision was unanimous. Humanity would not simply copy the precursors' ascension, nor would they remain bound to their current form. Instead, they would develop a new way forward, combining physical existence with quantum transcendence. The collective, inspired by humanity's example, began their own journey of rediscovery. The displaced, their mission complete, shared one final message before disappearing into the quantum realm: the experiment is complete. The cycle is broken. Evolution continues. Years later, the solar system had become something unique in the galaxy, a place where physical and quantum beings coexisted, where innovation and tradition found harmony, and where the boundaries between possible and impossible were rewritten daily. Dr. Samira Patel, now existing simultaneously as flesh and energy, stood watching Earth from the lunar facility. The planet glowed with new forms of life and technology, a testament to humanity's ability to face the unknown and emerge transformed. "We didn't just reverse engineer their technology," she mused to the quantum consciousness that had once been Admiral Blackwood. "We reverse engineered evolution itself." The crisis had ended, but humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. Across the galaxy, other civilizations looked to Earth not with fear or disdain, but with hope. The experiment hadn't just changed humanity, it had changed the very nature of progress itself. In the depths of space, the Prometheus continued its silent orbit around Titan, its mission complete. Within its quantum core, a new message waited for the next civilization ready to take the leap. The path is open. The choice is yours.